How you doing, ladies and gentlemen? And thank you for watching the show. My name is Sheriff Goodman, one of the elected officials in the city of Bridgeport. I'm sitting to the left of me, Ron Bailey, that is one of the chief of police at Holyoke, Massachusetts College. Then, to the other side of my left is Tony Barr. Tony Barr is a candidate for mayor in the city of Bridgeport. Ladies and gentlemen, we brought the chief on to talk about city issues, not politics, but basically issues of what's going on in our society today. As I had a conversation before we started the show, like he says, it's every officer has discretion to their job and how they do their job. Chief, my question to you is,
Yes.
how long have you been an officer of the law enforcement?
I worked for the city of Bridgeport as a police officer for 31 years, did 18 years undercover, got into 5 shooting incidents. I ended up retiring as a lieutenant. October of 2013, I became the chief of police of Holyoke College in Massachusetts.
Well, I just want to say congratulations to you on that part.
Thank you.
And congratulations to you on your retirement because you deserve it.
Mhm.
I know you as being, from the city because you were one of our law enforcement officers in the city of Bridgeport.
Mhm.
And I always thought you were fair and honest, and that's the way I'm going to say it. Okay, I thought you
you.
was a fair and honest officer of the city of Bridgeport. The problem is you have fair ones, and you have a lot of fair ones out there. But my question to you is, as being one of the guys from Bridgeport PD, is the respect from the citizens there towards the police department, and is the respect there from the police department to the citizens?
And your question is about policing and community?
Yes.
Policing in America has changed from the war on drugs, so to speak. We're trying to be more involved with the community, and community policing, it's a partnership. There needs to be, in my opinion, more dialogue. We need to work closer together, and we definitely need to be respectful towards each other. There's a lot of hate out there, and I say on both sides, in my opinion.
Mm-hmm.
That needs to stop. Uh, and we need to get some good dialogue going because there's some problems in America that's not going to be addressed while we're busy not talking with each other, not communicating.
Would it be fair to say that the police department gets looked down on because of certain situations that actually happen in America? And, to bring it out to the light is, it seems like every time that something goes wrong, and it just goes into every community, Bridgeport, Hartford, New Haven, going all the way up to Ferguson, okay, that every time that an officer has to use their weapon, a major riot ends up breaking out. What else if an officer's in trouble, what else do you expect the officer to do? That's my question.
It sounds like you want to touch on the Ferguson issue. Missouri, is that where we're going?
It doesn't have to go to the Ferguson.
No, it's fine.
issue.
I don't have a problem talking with it, actually.
Not going to Ferguson, but just in every city because it's happened just in general.
Are we talking about the shootings in America?
Yes.
Okay, what the community needs to understand is the policy, and I'm going to try to make it as simple as possible because the policies are usually 25 or 30 pages long on the use of force,
Okay.
deadly force. So I'll try to make it, and again, I'm just going to give you a broad overview. There's a lot more to it than what I'm going to tell you. First of all, police officers are governed by a use of force policy. Most policies, if not all policies, always state that the officer has the right to use of force, deadly force, if he or she feels threatened that they're going to get seriously physically injured or killed. That would go for a citizen as well. As a police officer, I feel that the perpetrator is going to seriously physically injure me or kill me or another. I have a right to use deadly force. That policy is meant to protect police officers. And I'll give you a for instance. If I, as a police officer, stop someone and tell them to turn around, and they turn around and they got their hands in their pocket, and I say, take your hands out of your pocket and you make a sudden move. I don't see the gun, but I have perceived that you might be going for a gun. I have the right to use deadly force. Why? If I wait to see the weapon, I could end up dead.
Right.
I've had 5 shootings, so I know what that's all about. And all my shootings were absolutely, there were no problems. I actually had to go to federal court on one because you get sued. It's just a matter of fact. And I was found completely, I was exonerated. But getting back, the policy is meant to protect police officers. That does not mean that police officers don't use that policy to their own advantage. For instance, if I were a cop that were looking for an excuse because I shot someone who didn't have a gun, I could simply say, and the policy will cover you, I thought he had a gun. I thought I was going to get killed. I thought he was going to kill someone. And under that policy, I have a right to pull my weapon and use deadly force. It's a problem, I admit it, but I don't see how you can change the policy, because if you tell me now I can no longer, if I perceive a threat and I don't act on it, I have to wait to see the gun, I'm going to end up dead. And it's a problem that has to be addressed.
Can I just?
Yes,
say-
absolutely.
And congratulations
Thank
on,
you.
on your career. My point to it is this, and it's not a knock on the police. It's not a knock on what the risks that they're taking each and every day. Like you stated, it's his call. It's the police call.
Right.
So it's easier or to say that whatever he or she believes is automatically, like you stated, is protected. He or she is protected by the union or by the protocol, regardless.
The policy.
The policy.
The use of force policy.
Okay. So what I will say to that is this. We've had across the United States of America since 1999 almost 80 unarmed incidents with individuals who were gunned down, multiple shots. To me, that's senseless, and I'll say that to say this: we'll take all measures to preserve a wild animal, an elephant. We'll use a tranquilizer, shoot the elephant, take him down, but we'll use deadly force when dealing with citizens of the United States of America. I'm trying to say, where's the balance?
I see your point, but there's only so much we can do with what we have. We're trained to use our gun. I'll give you, for instance, I'm a pistol expert. That means that from 50 yards away, in a circle this big, I'm going to hit it every time.
Okay.
Here's the problem. We're taught to shoot at center mass, which is the largest part of the body, which would be
Right.
the chest area, to stop someone.
As a police officer.
As a police officer, that's how we're trained.
Mhm.
That stuff on TV about shooting arms and legs, it's not going to happen. I'm a pistol expert.
Okay.
But guess what? When you got somebody trying to shoot back at you,
No,
you're running in the street.
Let's stop, because
Okay.
we're not talking about incidents where people are shooting back at you.
Okay.
We're talking about unarmed individuals. The people that I just stated for across the country are unarmed individuals.
Okay.
They're not using any type of weapon.
Okay.
What I'm asking you, the police policy is this: shoot at the
Shoot center mass.
center mass
Right.
with deadly force.
Use deadly force.
Use deadly force. I'm asking you, as a police officer, an unarmed individual is approaching you. As a human being now, what decision do you make now? I'm not asking the police officer
Okay.
to make this decision. I'm
I see
asking,
what you're
I'm
saying.
asking a human being now to another human being that does not have no weapon of anything that you can see, but he's approaching you in an aggressive way. I don't want you to be I want you to be the police officer,
Right.
but I also want you to be the human being to another human being. You still shoot center, or do you?
If I have
that's
somebody
what I'm
unarmed approaching me, each shooting is going to be completely different. All right.
Mhm.
If I have somebody approaching me, and I feel threatened, if I can withdraw, I'm going to withdraw. If he's unarmed, I see that. There's so many different tangibles.
Mhm.
It all comes down to the officer's safety. Does he feel threatened? I've actually had a shooting take place where the kid, I'll give you a good for instance, I had a kid in a school.
Okay.
He shot in the school. I was the first officer to arrive. I pulled my weapon out. I'm not going to shoot in the school. I got kids running all over the place. But the kid saw me with my gun and he ran. Could I have shot him? Yes, because he had a gun in his hand. Did I shoot him? No. I chased him, kept after him. He kept looking back. I never shot him. He eventually threw the gun down and I was able to arrest him. But that was my call. I didn't feel to the point where I had to shoot him. Had he turned around and maybe raised a weapon, okay, I would have shot him. And again, the question you're asking me, it's broad because you have so many different officers out there that get in shooting incidents, and it's what they perceive, what they think.
Right.
If you feel threatened, or if you feel that this person is going to harm someone, you have to act.
You have to,
and that's
it's a
just
split second judgment
right.
call. So
With
let me
somebody with empty hands, I'm not going to shoot.
Right. Okay. Well, let me ask, because we've had almost 80 people with empty-handed been killed across the country. So
Right.
that's why we're in the state that we're in right now, because
Right.
people think what's going on with the police department. Let me ask you this then:
Right.
if an individual is unarmed and he ends up deceased, and I'll say it like this: my condolence goes to every police officer that lost their life in the line of duty.
Right.
And a greater condolences goes to the families that have lost their loved ones to
Absolutely.
police officers.
It's a sad situation both ways.
It's a sad situation both ways. But my point is this: how do you feel as a police officer, as a chief of police, when the incident that took place with the two officers in New York City, and the mayor of New York City basically agreed that this was a situation both ways in terms of the choking of Gardner and the officer shooting the young man in the hallway with his pistol out when he shouldn't have had his pistol out in Brooklyn. Okay, what I'm saying is, how do we put understanding on that? We had an incident where the mayor said they were wrong, and the police across the United States of America came to New York and showed solidarity by turning their backs to the mayor. Now, let me say this. If this was an incident, and any gang member, every gang in the country, if you believe there are gangs in the country, would have listened to hear what the mayor had to say. They would not have disrespected him on no level. They would have heard him out, and I felt the police department across the United States should have heard him out. And that position said, to us as citizens, then you're just a gang too.
With regards to that, it was embarrassing to me as a police officer to see police officers turn their back on the mayor, because I think Commissioner Bratton said it best. You're there to honor your fellow officers that have been killed in the line of duty. Turning your back on the mayor, that's not what you were there for. You were there to pay your respect to your falling fellow officers. So I disagree with them turning their back, but that's my opinion.
Right.
And I saw on the news reports that certain officers didn't actually turn and maintain their dignity.
Right.
There was no need to do that.
There was no. Dave, go ahead, because I won't need you back in this call.
You guys are doing fine. I mean, you got to look at it like this, and what I could say to that, and I mean, if you heard everything that the mayor said though about law enforcement officials, I think it was kind of a slap to the officers too, because let me tell you something. Any law enforcement officer, I don't care if you're a marshal, I don't care if you're a cop, I don't care if you're a bounty hunter, I don't care if you're a security officer, that's law enforcement, different levels of law enforcement, okay? But when somebody can come out and say something bad towards the whole police department, and maybe he worded it in a word that he shouldn't have worded it, and it came out wrong on his mouth, but you got to remember, these guys are dressing up in blue uniforms, protecting that city, protecting the elderly, protecting the children, protecting, the women, because I can tell you what, statistics in New York, it's crazy, but, if you look at it, every 15 minutes a woman's getting raped, okay? Is there a shooting in New York every 20, 25 minutes or every hour? Yes, it does happen. But you also got to remember, son, when these guys are responding to that call, and I'm not sticking up for the mayor and I'm not sticking up for the law enforcement, the wording that he used kind of made those guys do that. And that came from every country. Not just talking about New York.